First of all, a very good afternoon, and to talk after lunch in a solo performance is going to be very, very challenging. I don't know whether I'll cope up the challenge. So this, we can, already the organizers have hinted that I should be short, but then they said a master class. It cannot be a master class when a women is sitting. It's whatever you wanted. So I look at this session as basically a summary and to put our, the page more clear. That's the only thing. Because this is exactly what we have been talking all through since morning. Right from the keynote address, the inaugural session, everybody has been talking about this. It's just that I am trying to put it in a typical academic way and put it as a class and say, hey, this is what we have to do. Now, so I'm just going to give, and I really like this idea of this triad. And before we really go, how many of you are from the academics in this audience? So that's maybe about a little more than 1/4. How many are from the industry, including startups, including student-led startups? Not much. And how many are from the policy and the top governance tier? All the policy advocacy and, see, very few, policy. So we really need to look at this triad and try and understand how we can build a more collaborative platform which can really take us to what we want to do. You have to pardon me, one, if I sound very, scholarly or anything. But that's because I've been a scientist for almost 3 decades or more than that. And I tried to get myself transition from being a scientist in a core researcher, then turned into in the education, then look at being a policy maker, being part of the IP policy and also the tech transfer policy, and now worked with developmental organizations, and now just doing my bit after superannuation in an academic platform to build more tech transfer deals and professionals in the society. But I also come with a background of agriculture, so there might be a tendency to talk ag. But that doesn't matter because you start your day with food, end your day with food. So that's it, okay? So what I thought is, because in the beginning, they said 1 hour, so I said, okay, let me stage it. But I thought it's high time we also understand the conceptually for the purpose of this session. It's very important to this because I found a lot of, when I was talking to some of the younger students and all, a little bit of overlap in our thinking itself. And if we are not clear about our thinking, the tech transfer is a very complicated process, and you want to do so much without your basics in place. And for the purpose of this session, even if the front benchers might find it very kindergartenish, let's just set the house in place. So we discover, yes, we discover sun rises from east. But the science part is we harness the solar energy to make some of those projects. With the young lady in the first session had a question. So translating that discovery into a technology, science becomes the vehicle. That's important for us to. So we had a lot of people saying in the industry session that industry should be part of IP. And we are the owners. I think it's time we understand who is the inventor and who is the innovation. Industry helps us to take an invention into the innovation ecosystem. So you can be an inventor as a scientist, you can also be an inventor as an industry person, but the innovation, which is, you invented the phone, Who invented? Some of the youngsters should tell me. Who invented the telephone? Huh? You don't know? Okay. But are you using what he invented? No, you're using a mobile, which my stakeholders like farmers actually use it for getting communications, and you don't have block development officers now in our system. We just have digital messages to tell our farmers, and that's innovation. That's a small little thing which takes pictures, which takes everybody taking selfies, using for communication, using for all sorts of things, also including in the defense and space sector. So you develop science-based technology and you want to deploy it. And here is the difference. You have actors like scientists to develop that science-based technology. You have innovators like grassroots innovators or some of the young students with brilliant ideas to make that technology. But not all technology reaches to where it should go. And it's there, the deployment agencies, some of them, like the Science Park initiative today where we are hosted to. They are the facilitator to deploy it. And after we deploy it, it can be in that journey enabled, IP enabled. I didn't say patent. I said IP enabled very, very clearly. And it need not be IP enabled. You're talking about open innovation, which was also referred. So I have a technology and I don't have an IP portfolio, but there is a difference in that also when we monetize it. And that's important for me to know. Everybody says TT, technology transfer and all. Transfer of any technology is fine. But when it is commercialized, that's the interesting part for my investors and my colleagues who have come. That's the money-making part of it. And ultimately, money is honey. So when money is honey, you would like to end your day with sweet. So ultimately, it is commercialization. But we tend to use transfer in a bigger, longer word. Each word in tech transfer activities has a relevance and a meaning. And because you're at an intersection between science, law, regulation, commercial, business management, it's huge. So when I say monetization, everybody thinks money. But when I say valuation, what do my people at the back think? What is valuation, if we were to think? What is valuation? You are asking questions when you ask questions, but when we sit here and ask questions, you don't want to answer. That's unfair. So what is valuation in your perception? You give a value to something, isn't it? It's a prospective type of quantitative value to it. But when I monetize it, I get the expected or unexpected revenues. So let's understand, monetization is something added with money, revenue. That is what we are doing. But when I evaluate it, I just tell my investor, it is at this value. Hence, I need the money. So somebody was saying, will you invest or will I go for a grant? I've had during the last so many years, and I continue to do a lot of evaluations of startups on different platforms. So everybody comes to the pitch and says, this is this value, this thing. I mean, very, very arbitrary figures, which I think you will agree, sir. It's very difficult to evaluate also. So this is the helix model we are talking. In this hall today, we are probably higher in the academic way. We do have policymakers, and each entity has a role. We must understand that we are partners in this. We are not one upon each other, but we are partners. In India, when we think of partners, it's a little difficult because collaboration and convergence is a little new in our system. We've always been a straight line hierarchical system, top to bottom or bottom to thing. We just think linearly. You have to now start thinking tangentially, is what I'm trying to tell you. So we each has a role, and I'm going to. But ultimate goal of all these three guys is only one. Do research, take research, go to the innovation ecosystem, generate economic growth. These are loud words at the broader level. I continue to be fascinated with mobile because I have been in the agriculture system where we used to walk miles to reach to the farmer. Today I'm in a system, my farmer, who is a Padma Shri awardee, calls me today and says, ma'am, this is the problem, this is the amount I'm trying to get, do you think the price is enough? So this is the age I have come. 20 years down the line, a small fascinating thing has changed the lives of not only all of you as consumers, but some of those people who are impacted by climate change and everything. So that is innovation we are talking, which has social development and social and societal needs are met. Oh, I don't know what happened. Okay. I don't know whether this is, yeah. So understanding the concept, we push into the process. We have talked about processes. Remember your first slide, first session, second session, third session. All were elements of the process I have put in this pinwheel. I am not talking anything different. So if we can read the slide, we can skip the slide. Okay? But when we are in the process, there are certain instruments we have to be aware of. So when in India, I mean, I hope I'm wrong and I stand corrected. Most people in the startup ecosystem think there is some guy sitting there giving me money, I'm going to pitch, I'm going to do this. Nobody goes beyond that. And I think now the Indian ecosystem, I have been part of the launch of the Startup India, right? And I think we have reached a maturation level where we can start thinking of new licensing agreements, the in-licensing, the out-licensing. I'm throwing words for you people to captivate you. Joint ventures, or of course, collaborations were always there. And the need for acquisitions. Now it's very easy to say for the companies, industry to say we have acquired technology or acquired a company or we are merging with, but there's a lot of transaction behind the curtains which goes on, and deals are made over the months and years. So these are some of the processes and some of the instruments which were not talked in the other sessions were material transfer agreements and non-disclosure. Very important in the Indian ecosystem. Today, all my friends in the engineering are looking at materials. It's becoming a new boom and something which we have not dealt earlier. So you're going to have a new set of guidelines coming also in the material sciences as science progresses. Okay. So if I were to monetize, yes, I get money, but what is it? Even Stanford, where I was there for about 6 months in Stanford, it's fascinating to be in the ecosystem. It's fascinating to see the startups, opening their things. But believe me, even though everything is less than 2% of what they generate in that big university is actually translated into technology which goes out. Compare your university and the ecosystem you are here, you can probably add more zeros in front, not behind, okay? So innovation system operates on probability, and the translation of the transformative technologies is a method to take your exploration in research to a next level. But life is never without challenges, isn't it? And I think at this time of the entire national ecosystem, some of the biggest challenges which I would empathize with my academic people is we don't know how to go about with it. Let's be frank, everybody talks, we have to jump into the bandwagon of creating more startups, getting more patents, but we really don't know, because at the background we have always been tutored to have publications. Nothing wrong in having good publications. Nothing wrong in saying your publication is the route for a technology to go into the field also, because that's an open way of doing. But if you want to travel in this way, the steps are very complex and multiple. Let's see what are some of these. One step in the middle is the IP. It's intellectual property. It actually is a strategic tool for me to negotiate with the industry. I have Mahindra sitting here. He's not going to come if I say I have a good, he may come if the rapport is there. But the patents are a way of telling to the world. So your patent filing is just telling the world you are capable. Patent grant is the one which puts you into the comfort zone and puts them also into the comfort zone for negotiation. So, but in our ecosystem at this point of time, which was relevant at that time, the patent office had this mandate to go and enhance more filings. It was actually required because Indian Patent Office had become ISA, International Search Authority, and international, what is the other one? Under the PCT. All the patents office had to become to certain level of number of filings. And that was the reason we took a national initiative, had more patent examiners, and today it's a nice thing to see that the patents are, I have one of my startup who got in, one of my faculty who got within 10 months the grant. Yes, patent must have been very strong, but efficiency also has increased, and we should accept it as a positivity. But that positivity should not turn into number of filings, and this I'm loudly saying it, more in the private sector, because the ranking and the scoring is linked to it, which is not too favorable. We land in the Jumbo Mela, which we had recently also. So please treat all IPs, particularly we talked about deep tech, copyright is going to become a big, big IP for you, which is easy, but it's going to be complicated also. So what is it? I have a patent. How many of you are patent holders here? Oh wow, that means I'm in Tamil Nadu, which is having high numbers. What would be your value of the patent that you have? Have you ever even thought about it? I have had many academic colleagues, selling off their technology, and now we think we did a bad deal. We gave it cheap. If you are in public sector university, we tend to do that because we have been nurtured like that. We've created ourselves like that. And today I have to look and think like industry. It's becoming a challenge. And that's one of a major challenge for us also. So valuation is going to be tough. Most technologies, except I'm not an engineer, but I know engineering guys get very fast, patent and final. But fast they get, but the lifespan is shorter. Biotech, healthcare, pharma, investors don't like, they keep watching as it's sitting on the wall because it's a long time lag before the actual product. These are factors you should keep in mind when we are evaluating our efforts. And so, translating, the time lag is often differential to the commercial venture. And this is one of my favorite points because I'm speaking as a senior citizen, okay? I see a lot of translating activities going on, but where is the manpower? If today I were to have an incubator, and I've run created 2 incubators. They are very successfully going. But always our problem is getting the correct team. I bring the team, I train them. Because I'm not able to assure them of a professional career, my iteration also is, they just vanish. Again I start. So I have spent about 15 years now in this ecosystem, and I think I always start at letter A. I'll go till K and then come back to A because I don't get the human resources. That's something we really have to think if we want to have a sustainable innovation ecosystem in the country. And if we recognize that tech transfer, tech monetization is a thing for the future. It's very, very important. I also see of new opportunities for the youngsters. All need not become startups. Come on, you need some people to even help us in this. He is smiling because I think you must be facing this every day. I'm always scared when I used to go to my office, who is the person who is going to give me a notice and go off? So I keep trying to pamper my human resources, which is not fair because they also need to go out. Another challenge my academic colleagues have always, and I don't know why it comes. Everybody has patents, so you have a scientist coming to him, ma'am, this is something I really want to do. I want to file a patent. Look at it. I got a peer-reviewed, NAS high-rated journal which is accepted and it's printed. Let's patent it. I have to get my CV. Your own paper is prior art in your patent journey. Just get it into your mind. You can do a dual role, dual strategy, but patent first and then pop. The day you file your patent, next minute, you send your paper to the editor. So your boss in the university is happy with the number of publication. Your boss in the tech transfer office and ranking, they're happy with the file. You can do both. But don't patent, publish and patent. This is important because you are entering into RDI, ANRF, where intellectual property is going to be part of your agreement. I had one World Bank sponsored program for our organization where there was an industry partner, a university, and an ICR institute. Very difficult to stitch projects. They all did it. They all got very good funds, very good outputs. All wanted to file patents. When we filed one patent on behalf of one institute, which I'm not going to name, their own paper by the same author came up in the search as a prior art. Now, this was against the agreement they had signed with the World Bank. They got into problems in that also. So you have to understand your complexity in the ecosystem is also enhancing with the amount and revenue you are preparing. I told you money is honey. So a lot of people come in this network, okay? So I would say we should have responsible IP practice. I think it's an add-on word, and this is a take-home for all of you. Ethical, responsible IP practice, where there is a genuine novelty. Don't go, in fact, if I sit in any review, appraisal, and they say, and in the interview they say, number of patent files, everybody thinks it's great. So I have filed 10 patents, fine. They don't accept, then I say, how many granted? Many people don't even know that there's some next stage. I said, okay, to help them, how many at FER stage? What is FER? So it's important for us to understand that there is a broad picture given to us, but we have to learn to detail and get into it. Okay? Then how inventive it is, and FTO, freedom to operate. If you were to go to an investor and tell him you have a FTO report on your technology, believe me, if you are able to identify the white space, Investors, half the work traveling to the investment is done. But we don't do that. In an FTO analysis, it costs money. You can't do because you don't have the skill. All these are intricate things. And that's why many people think university-led research is not attractive, industry doesn't want to invest. There are reasons for it. I'll tell you what industry also is at fault. Okay. So, please treat intellectual property and intellectual assets, trade secrets, and all those are assets to you. I have a good voice, it's my asset. I converted it, I sing, it's an output. I make a commercially a song which I'm not a good singer, okay? I make a song and you cut the discs and make money out of it, you can have an IP on it. So the asset is converted from an intangible state to a tangible property. But as university, we can also try and shortlist all the assets of the university also, or research organization. And this just tells you the entire journey. I was talking about valuation. One of the toughest stuff in IP tech transfer is valuation. All those 4 people who are sitting in the previous panelists, they're all registered tech transfer of, including Dr. Emmanuel. But if I were to ask them to do valuation, this is something which we all hate. It's a subjective way of bringing objectivity into your thing. You know, how do you value it? So there are 3 or 4 techniques. I'm not going into the detail, but ultimately, we have a paper. If you are interested, I've given you the reference. But you have to value taking some 4 yardsticks in mind and keep that and use one of the 3 methods. I'll quickly go to a use case. It's a published one. Somebody was talking about SDG. Yes, SDG is very important. Chitin is something which everybody knows. We have a huge marine and shrimp industry in the country. Lot of wastage of the crustacean shells thrown all over the ports, including Chennai. You take that and try and explore the research part, which it was done. It was a funded project. And you get, it's a scope for fertilizer industry, healthcare industry, pharma. There are a lot of products which come out of it. So there was a technique of actually extraction of the chitin. And we tried how to value the technology. And end of the whole story is when there is a patent, the percentage of royalty was higher. If it is not protected by IP, the percentage. So you need to take a call whether you need to build an IP portfolio to your technology. What? If you have an IP in a different way. And since I'm in Coimbatore, I said this case is something I should talk to you. Madurai is known for Meenakshi Ammal, yes, but it's also known for Malli. This is the traditional flower, not the cut flower which goes fancy bouquets. It's a simple flower. But the fragrance reaches Paris and other countries. And it's not new, it's always been there. Whenever you travel to Madurai, next time you travel, look at the people in the flight. You will find 1 or 2 Frenchmen also, because they're looking for perfume industry. So it's a proud moment from a local perspective also, that anything which grows, jasmine I mean, any variety, because of the local ecosystem and soil, you get that. Even Coimbatore flowers are good, and I'm going to buy and go, I know that. But there is a flavor which is unmatchable. So, and it's historically. So I think if you all know, it's the first GI grant. GI is another IP which is a community grant. It's not a patent like you, your owner. But I'm going to link it how you youngsters can contribute. So it's fine. The GI grant came because Madurai Malli has got a longer shelf life. You can identify when you talk to the growers. It stays for a longer time. It has the capacity to flower at the end of the day, unlike the other flowers, these are very important. It's very thick. What will all this be? That it can be exported. And that's why even before the IP, Madurai Malai has always gone into international markets. It's been important for Tamil Nadu an export commodity in the floriculture. But, okay, so it got the GI. But you also have a lot of value-added products, isn't it? We always buy this, and these have come. What I wanted to tell you is, I think I have, there was the science part of it. I say it has a capability to go to global markets. But if you talk to the exporters, and it was an industry-identified problem, that they found that their market access is there, but the product reaching the market, there were a lot of problems. And that problem is not very big and unmatched. It's not cutting-edge technology. All they wanted is a better packaging technology, which can come from science-based interventions. Tamil Nadu Agriculture University contributed it because it got a World Bank funding, and they could do it. And they had a packaging technology which was patented and granted patent for the US route and for because their business is Dubai, Singapore, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, and North America. Of course, post that, you also have now events and designer marriages which happen in Rajasthan and tons, apart from, of course, the use in the local market for the temple. So this huge market. All market channels don't require post-harvest life, packaging technology. So if you can identify that and set it, the monetization becomes much more easy. And that's what has happened. The exporters were happy. Scientists are happy. They learned how to license their technology. They didn't acquire it, they licensed it, and it's used by the exporters. And you also had a revenue coming. But more important is, entrepreneurs' number in this sector increased. It also led to the international status for Madurai. The policy makers were also involved because they were sensitized. And if you look at aviation history, one of the fastest grants to a cargo facility and an international status was for Madurai. So, when all of them work together, it's teamwork at a complete well. Okay, so what do you learn? Even if you don't have a patent, you can have other, trademark is by all the exporters. GI is for the community. IP is for the scientists. Combination of all, it's a monetization opportunity. Now, the hall is getting empty, so I have to be very fast. What's my message to the industry? You need to look at this slide. It's very complicated. Don't think, and I don't agree, pardon me, the industry people. You ask for problem solutions and which are industry oriented, but sometimes there have to be opportunities to inform also. You should also come up and tell us what are the problem statements. Then only the researchers can know. Just saying that it doesn't work, and now things are much better, because in ANRF anyway you have to go with the industry partner. And I come because I was in NAIP in the ICR. Getting industry partner and making partnerships is itself a bigger project. I can tell you, it's not easy. Okay? We had the deep tech session previously. We don't want to be like the rocket, ready to fly, but we don't have the fuel to go. I'm just summing it up. So for policymakers also, unless a strong ecosystem is created, your rocket will be where it is. It will not fly. And ultimately, we want it to fly. So please use that. The policymaker have a stronger role, and treat this research park as a bridge between research and impact. Now, there are only 3 words, but there's a lot of work for them to do. Also, you should also be familiar with what is a research park, what is a science park, what is an incubator. All are different, please. You have to think in that. Incubation is something everybody uses it left and right. So I don't agree on it. So for policy makers, I think time has come that the infrastructure, they were talking about, what is that, metallurgy facilities you want to create. Government will give us money, but we need to brainstorm and understand what is the needed infrastructure needed here. And you can't keep creating infrastructure like you create research labs all over the country. You must have a facility to use. If I want a nano facility, I should go to the Indian Institute of Science nano facility and do it. It's out there, but we don't know that. So the role for policymakers is to build that dots and see that there's no overlap but joining of the dots. This is something I really want to emphasize and re-emphasize. How many incubators are there in Tamil Nadu?
124.
It's a little big for a state like this. So my scare is because of lack of professional trained manpower, policymakers to think in that direction, scientists not being aware, are we slowly becoming into event managers? We should not. You can take time off from doing events and come with transactions. You can ask these tech transfer professionals how long one term sheet takes. Spend time on that. And you know, I was in the Cornell Tech Transfer office for about 8 months, and I know how I work. I was one of the earliest scientists to work under my boss there. It takes a long time to do a term sheet, to understand what is it. Give them that time to do. If you start having only event managers and holding the MOUs like this, it doesn't work. We need to do that. And it's high time we understand. I'm not saying don't have events. If there was no event, I would have not come here. So I want events. But understand the spirit behind it. So I'm going to stop here. There's nothing on this. So what is our takeaway? I have kept to my time. No. You better say yes. The first takeaway, researchers need to really look at their mindset. You continue to do your basic work if that is the one which imitates. Don't change your gear. But if you change your gear and go to apply it, understand and try and orient with the industry to have more problem applicable type of technologies. Try to get engaged with the university incubator. Understand the meaning of it. Most universities, pardon me sir, I have also been, we are scientists turned into professionals because at that time we didn't have. Today we have a younger pool. We should try and see if we can bring their careers as innovation managers. A high time university starts thinking about innovation management as a course. If you can do that, entrepreneurship as a course, Sweden has, Duke University has, you will be having a USP in your academic. And contributing that manpower to the science parks and incubations which you are doing. You also have the message for the startups. Please don't treat startup or industry. All are different entities. SME, there were a lot of questions on SME. SME needs are different. Startup needs are different. Startups are coming with ideas. They have to go through the whole journey. Industry is coming for final products. SME is in between. It can take a MVP type and turn it into an enterprise. We just have to give community support and community raw building. These are all different entities. And policymakers, out of all the three, I tell you the maximum work is for policymakers. And it's forums like this, we can give the feedback and give something masala for them to make the policies. Thank you. I think if I don't stop, she's going to kill me. Hope you're not.
Thank you, ma'am. That wasn't just a presentation, it was an eye-opener on how to think tangentially and not vertically in the ecosystem to create valuation and responsible IP. To honor Dr. Kalpana and to show our appreciation, I would like to call upon Mr. Dinesh Kumar once again to please come forward and present a memento to ma'am.
Thank you. I hope it was not too boring. You know, when you call academics, it's always a challenge. I appreciate this is also an innovation. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.